hackerspaces collaborating, because there's all different types of hackerspaces.
It's usually an individual project basis. I mean, if somebody's doing something here and they're doing something cool in Vancouver or wherever, the people just hook up and figure it out on their own. It's not like the whole organization collaborates. Hacker Dojo is specifically looking to let others just borrow our name and our logo, and you're free to take that and just have your own Hacker Dojo Michigan or Hacker Dojo wherever.
How do you actually get around to paying the bills? I mean, somebody must be on the lease, somebody must have a bank account.
Membership dues.
Well, yeah, but that's how you get the money in. Somebody has to sign up for
It's going to depend on how the organization is structured, because if you are a nonprofit, then the nonprofit itself is going to be on the lease. So if you're a corporation, an LLC, a DBA, like whatever it is that you are organized under, LLC, they are going to be the ones on the lease, and they're going to be the ones responsible for the money.
Well, every space actually can organize that differently. At Noisebridge, like I said, there's no leaders, but I signed up to be the treasurer for the first year, so I was. And I had no power whatsoever. If I spent any money that wasn't approved by the membership, I would have heard about it. So I could only spend money on what we all approved, but I was responsible. I took on all this responsibility with no payback, basically, just because I love the idea of this hackerspace called Noisebridge and hackerspaces in general. So I was responsible for paying the bills and for making sure that members paid their dues. That's how we made our money. Other spaces make their money from membership dues and other things like classes.
Yeah, classes specifically, yeah. It's a big money maker for a lot of spaces. And there's many ways to do it. Like Mitch doesn't charge for class, but you buy his product, so it goes both ways. So it gets people in, a little bit goes to the space. PS1, HackDC, and a lot of spaces do that. Like Resistor did their laser cutter. You want to use it, they charge you time. It goes right back to the space.
Yeah, so
another thing to speak to that is, at least at OCD, we have a Google Doc spreadsheet budget. So everybody at any time can see exactly what's going in, exactly what's going out, when bills are being paid, and I think that's very comfortable for a lot of people.
You can also just have PayPal automatically take the dues out of everybody's accounts.
Oh, that is crucial.
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways of organizing. You get one or more person in a room, you will have strife. So how do you deal with that? So just in 2 sentences, name something that has been a pitfall of your organization, or you can pass if you want to, and how you dealt with it or how it transpired, how it went out.
I think our biggest one is people coming in and they are like, okay, we only charge $30 a month. And they're like, oh, $30, why would we pay for that? And we actually haven't solved that yet, so I would love to hear how people solve it.
Yeah, our biggest problem was that some of the drama caused the person who was organizing our previous space to get rid of the mailing list and the online forum, which kind of crippled the organization because people could no longer contact each other, and the community completely fell apart after that. Like, there just simply wasn't a community because people couldn't organize things, they couldn't get things on the calendar without getting it approved. Like, just suddenly there was a bottleneck in having everything happen. And the way we got around that was we dissolved. So,
and formed this new space.
Yeah, so during this process of when the organizers stepped away and then the few members that were left kind of almost standing in rubble, and we're like, wow, what are we going to do? We've got to raise like $4,000 like in a week to keep the space running. We managed to do it. We kept the space going for 2 months, and then we ran into another space, and essentially we've combined efforts, and we've been bringing back in previous people who left from the former organization.
Yeah, so it just shows the magic of the power of the need for community and what people will do to keep it going. So overcoming adversity is part of, we all have to learn. We weren't brought up by people who really knew community all that well because they weren't brought up by people who really knew it, etc. But we're learning as we go along. So, yeah.
So one thing that we've had is just so many people coming through our doors, just for events and guests and members, that one thing we found really helpful is our signing computer. When you arrive, you just sign in. And this is important because it helps build more of a sense of, this is a private club. You're entering these premises, and you're part of this community. If you're a guest here, you're a guest here, and that helps people respect the space. It makes people feel good about being part of the dojo, and I think it keeps things pretty more community feeling to having a signing feeling. I would say if you have a hackerspace and you have a dark room, don't let anybody put a couch on top of it. Also, if you're going to do any bio experiments, make sure that if you're going to put a refrigerator in the space, people know you're going to put it there. Also, time heals all drama.
And what about server rooms?
Yeah, so he just pointed out in short notation something that no one would possibly understand if they weren't part of Noisebridge. But dramas do appear, and we do get over it. Communicating amongst everybody happened, and we got over it within like a week, even though emotions ran high. So it will happen if you start a space that is part of it, even if you're part of a space that already exists. But, if there's a will to continue community, we get beyond it, and as a result, we get closer to one another. Even some of the dramas at Noisebridge, the people who are like loggerheads are now friends. It's kind of cool that way.
I can't say that we've necessarily experienced any serious strife at our location, but I think something that we might all share in different hackerspaces is finding those really passionate people that want to drive the organization forward and really work to get the members, do the administrivia work, but and can do that without getting distracted by doing all the fun stuff. It's like we need to find those people that are willing to set aside that stuff for a little while to get the organization being pushed forward. Which is hard. Personally, I can admit that. I just want to play. So.
And to speak to that a little bit, I think it's really important to keep administrative stuff as streamlined as possible, and I think a lot of us share information on how to do that. One problem that we had a little bit in starting up OmniCorp Detroit is there are some people, our startup dues were kind of steep, especially for Detroit, but there are some people that we really wanted to be a part of it, and that we knew they really wanted to be a part of it. So one thing we came up with so we could still meet rent and expenses was for people to sponsor a member. So in that way, if somebody wants to be a membership, can't afford all the dues, 5 people can split whatever they can't make, until they can start making their own dues, and that way that person can be a part of the space.
So again, we're by makers, for makers, community's everything. If you come in and destroy the community, or you do stuff that can hurt people, you'll be talked to once, and then you'll be asked to leave.
So we've had some issues with personality conflicts where people think they're right. The problem is not everyone in the world is right on any particular issue. And they think that because the way we're so open is that no matter what they do, they can always have a say. But that's one of the big issues that we've had at a few of the spaces. But it's usually resolvable, or we have to ask a member to leave because they're stopping people from wanting to come because the place becomes not fun. So making sure you notice those people early on and make sure you can talk to them. And if they're not listening, you're going to find a way to get them out. We've got to do it for 1 or 2 members. But after that, it cleared right up. So that's some of the things you have to care about is personality conflicts. Some people, in certain communities, are very dogmatic. That's great if they can get work done and they don't cause strife. But if they do, things you have to worry about.
It's got to get fixed.
It's got to get fixed or it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and people usually end up just going away on their own, but sometimes it is important to ask someone to leave, unfortunately.
Check your zoning. When you find a space, make sure that it is correctly zoned for the work you wish to do.
I agree, fully, absolutely agree. We have to get commercial space for any of our stuff in Chicago.